Welcome back to AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be. I'm going to point out that Josh is bad at hitting buttons again.
Oops.
Not because you guys would have noticed as the listeners, but because I've got to make fun of Josh somehow, because I have to have conflict in my life. Otherwise, I can't function.
That's V for you.
Anyway, Josh, we're on AIM Student Radio, and we're going to do a bit of a news segment, kind of music news, because you know we had the spring break. So
we did.
What you had one thing, right?
I did. So yesterday, Selena, or my apologies, let me go ahead and backtrack that. Yesterday was actually the 25th anniversary of the Selena film starring Jennifer Lopez and Edward James Olmos as Selena and Selena's father, Abraham. Yesterday was the 25th anniversary of the movie being released in theaters. And in celebration, Warner Brothers did announce that starting April 14th, they are going to actually be re-releasing the film in theaters, a special 25th anniversary edition. It looks like they did remaster the movie because it is, 25-year-old movie. But they are doing it in commemoration, not just of, obviously of Selena, but the film itself, which was a huge success back in 1997. I mean, I remember watching the VHS tape and probably watched it, a zillion times when it was on Telemundo or Univision or any other Spanish network tended to show it quite regularly, especially around March and April, which was around the time of her death and her funeral. And honestly, I know I'm going to go see it in theaters, even though I actually own the movie, just because I never got that opportunity yet, because I was 2 years old when the movie first came out. Pretty sure I did not watch it, and I'm pretty sure my parents didn't go to the theater to watch it, so I'm just gonna go, even if it's just me. I know I'm gonna be tearing up like a little
baby
at the end, because it is an emotional ending. But just to have like that experience of being like, whoa, I get to see this movie in theaters, that's definitely gonna be the thing for me. But what do you got, V?
Well, we had a lot of music come out over the past week, a lot. So I just picked a few that caught my eye. First, on the 11th, that kind of final Friday, right before break, Ghost released in Para.
Yes.
Like we've been talking about some of their new singles that have been coming out, and they finally released the album. We will talk about it. We're going to do more of a segment on that on Thursday, but that happened Friday the 11th.
Yes.
Also on the 11th, Motionless in White released a new single called Cyberhex. Honestly, some cyber metal type stuff, a lot of almost a Doom-esque thing, talking about the video game, the Doom 2016 soundtrack had a very similar vibe. Moving on 3/17, which was a Thursday, so last Thursday. I've got dates as numbers and not as days. Royal Blood, I was really excited for this one. They just released Honey Brains, single. Good single.
I think you did actually send it to me on Friday or that day.
Probably because
you did. You're like, hey, look, Royal Blood.
Well, yeah, they're one of my favorites. And I know you like them too. It's just, hey, they released a new single, and I wasn't expecting a new single. It has been a while since their last. I mean, Typhoons was 2021, right?
I think it was, or was it? Or is it 20?
It's been a hot sec since their last album. So I guess I don't know if it's just a single or if this is the start of another album cycle. I know Typhoons was 2021. I know they did change some things up riding with Typhoons, and that kind of contributed to the different vibe. So maybe it's a good single though. I really enjoyed it. We also Dragged Under, a bit of a smaller outfit, kind of doing some. They call it punk pop. I know because I actually asked one of the guitarists.
Yeah.
Because he did an AMA, and it's like, hey, what do you actually consider yourselves? Because it's like pop punk or skate punk. They said punk pop. They released a single, All of Us, also on that Thursday. Really good song. The video is kind of fun. It's like those old Hanna-Barbera miniature cartoons.
Oh yeah, those were the days.
It is. It's like the miniatures moving around. It's really fun, cheesy action. It's a good song too. Really, if you like that kind of skate punk emo stuff,
yes,
definitely give them a listen. And you also shared with me that Thursday. Fozzy announced a new album, and you know more about that than I do.
Yes. So on that day, Fozzy did finally announce a new album called Boombox. It is scheduled to release on April 15th. There were a couple of singles preceding it in the last couple of years, mostly Nowhere to Run and Sane, which everybody first thought were just standalone singles, but turns out those two cuts are going to be on the album. It's only about 10 songs, but it is still a full-length Fozzy album. Jericho, just hearing his vocals, especially over the last couple of years, he's really been kind of stepping it up, and Fozzy is known also for doing some great live shows, which is always a plus as well.
Jericho's a wrestler, so I'd assume he'd be good at doing the live stuff.
Oh, yeah, no, and I mean, it's kind of crazy when you see Jericho the musician and Jericho the person, because a lot of the showmanship that he has as a wrestler, he brings into his performances, and the crowd just eats it up. And it is also kind of hilarious, too, because a lot of the performances, like most of the crowd, it's wrestling fans. Like, there'll be so many people that are wearing Jericho shirts, but not Fozzy shirts, just because they know Jericho mostly as a wrestler.
Yeah. Well, it looks like we've got some cool stuff coming up. I mean, it looks like we might have started an album cycle for Royal Blood. I want to look into that more, so that's all alleged. But new single there. Dragged Under, I think they're starting a new album cycle. There's been talk about their second album, because they had their debut album, and they've had 2 singles now, Brainwash Broadcast and now All of Us. They also did a little live album, which was cool. I've mentioned I like hearing bands live. Yes. I don't necessarily like concerts, but I love hearing the live sound. So, I don't know, might be an interesting year. And there are a bunch of other singles. I think MGK did a new one, too.
Yeah, MGK did a new one.
Bad Wolves, I think they did a cover.
Bad Wolf dropped a new thing. The MGK kind of, not necessarily him specifically, but the tour kind of irked me, because he announced a huge tour yesterday. There is going to be a Denver stop. There's a lot of different opening acts that he's going to have. Avril Lavigne is one of them. So I got my hopes up thinking, Avril, in Denver, because they did announce the tour is coming to Denver. The tour is coming. Avril is not going to be at the Denver date, which I am not going to lie, I just about flipped over my chair. I was like, no!
The one thing I know about Machine Gun Kelly is that he's kind of he's not a person I would vibe with, being nice about it. But he does have a cool guitar signature with Schecter that I kind of want. I won't actually buy it because A, it's expensive, and B, it's not like the specs I like.
Yeah.
It's cool, though.
The thing with MGK is right now, he is a very polarizing figure. Like, if you ask some fans of pop music, some people love him, some people absolutely revile him, because it wasn't the original genre he started off with. He was a rapper.
Oh, I don't care.
And then kind of tapped
genres.
over.
Like, it's just
It is his first time, but there was also a couple of incidents at concerts that kind of PO'd, I guess you could say, a lot of other fans of the music. So he's a polarizing figure, and plus his relationship with Megan Fox, that's definitely grabbing the tabloids everywhere.
I think the best thing we can say at this point is that MGK is definitely a musician.
Yes.
And that's all else we're going to say. So we've got some cool upcoming stuff, and I know we're going to talk more about the Ghost album probably Thursday.
Yeah. We'll do the Wow, I Cannot Talk today. That's how you can tell we haven't been in here for a week. But yes, Thursday we will certainly have a discussion regarding Impera, because there is
thoughts.
There is a lot in there.
I will say go give it a listen. It's not my favorite, but it is still good, and honestly, go check out all these new singles, because they're honestly good. Like Dragged Under, I'll always also just say go check out Dragged Under, because they're cool, and they are a bit of a smaller outfit, more recent. Royal Blood, of course, Motionless in White, Fozzy. Yeah, there's some good stuff out there, especially recently. So definitely go check some of that out, especially because this is all kind of more hard rock stuff. Motionless in White is metal. Anyway, we're talking about music a lot. We should actually play music.
Alrighty, and we're going to go ahead and bring it right back to the music here on AIM Student Radio with Lights Go Out by Fozzy. This is AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be.
Woo!
And welcome back to AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be. I'm Josh here with V, what we got for the weather? Or no, wait, not the weather, the toilet paper. Wow, we are tired today.
First in the news, you still can't hit buttons. I don't know if the listeners noticed that mix up with the songs, but you still can't hit buttons. And I've just got to put you on blast for that because that's my thing at this point.
Yes.
You chose to partner with me for radio, so
Oh yeah,
your
no,
fault.
no. It is my fault. It's all my fault.
Oh. Well, it's midterm week. That's going through the 25th, so yay.
May the odds be ever in our favor.
Yeah. Also, on Monday, we had the See Luna art exhibit screening. Features artworks referencing digital mediated culture during the information age, and that's in the BH Gallery Monday through Thursday. That started March 21st, and that's going through April 21st. There is a closing reception, and that's April 21st from 3 to 5 p.m. On March 30th, we have the Disability Awareness Joint Campus Activities Programming Board to learn about academic resources and disability access services for our students. There's food, information, and guest speakers to promote disability awareness, reduce stigma, informative resources, and have fun. That's in Student Commons 114 from 10 to 2. Oh, also, there's a chunk, so I'm just going to be saying a lot of things. We've got Josh Blue as Not Seen on TV. That's happening March 24th, so this Thursday from 7 to 9 p.m. That's in the Welcome Center on the Greeley campus. Seating is limited. It will be first come and first served basis. April 1st, the deadline for graduates to order caps and gowns. April 6th is both the full term course withdrawal deadline and also the deadline for graduates to register to participate in commencement. We've also, earlier today, had the grand opening of the Student Veterans Lounge. So that's open now. I don't have any more details on that.
They did have today. Coffee and donuts. I think there may, that's the key word here, be still some donuts left over.
I haven't been over there. I don't know. I forget the name of the guy who runs that, but I've chatted with him. He's chill.
Mm-hmm.
Also, March 25th, we've got a writer's workshop. That's via virtual Zoom from 2 to 2:45. Upgrade your grammar, run-ons, comma splices, and fragments. So if you want to improve your writing, that's on Zoom from 2 to 2:45 on March 25th. And, of course, the link is on the toilet paper. You know where to find it. And lastly, breath. Mentalist Wayne Hoffman is coming to Platt Room 111 and 113 at Fort Lupton campus April 7th. He's recognized as one of the top mentalists in the world. He's also the author of the best-selling book Mind Candy. His show is high-energy presentation that involves body language, human behavior, and visual magic that will dazzle the audience. It's open to the community, so make sure to invite your friends and family. Refreshments will be provided. We look forward to seeing you there. If you have any questions or concerns, please email dmorgal@ames.edu. That's DMORGALL at ames.edu, and that's also available on the toilet paper, which can, of course, be found online or in your nearest bathroom. I just read out a lot of things, so now I'm going to throw it over to Josh, who's going to do the weather and hopefully get us out of this hellhole.
I will try. So, in Windsor, we are currently looking at 41 degrees with a low of 29.
Yay.
In Fort Lupton, we are looking at 42 degrees with a low of 27.
It's too hot.
That's too cold.
Oh, shush, you bald wimp.
In Loveland, we're looking at 39 degrees with a low of 30. And here in the home base of Greeley, we are looking at 40 degrees with a low of 29. Gusts up to 15 miles per hour, but I'm pretty sure that's wrong because when I was leaving my house to get over here, Gus nearly knocked me off my front steps, so that was fun.
I'm going to refrain from making any jokes at this point because I feel like those jokes would go a bit too low and I don't want to target those parts of you. Is that it? Is that the weather?
That is the weather.
I get back to the music then.
All right, fine.
What are we doing sitting here in awkward silence?
I don't know. Maybe just, enhancing the plot, possibly?
I want to break up.
Not allowed. We signed the contract.
I will get an attorney involved.
Mine's better. But anyways, let's go ahead and bring it back to the music here on AIM Student Radio with Blow Me Away by Breaking Benjamin. Shout out to all the Halo fans.
Welcome back to AIM Student Radio, where Josh finally managed to hit a button. Speaking of Josh, you went to a Billie Eilish concert recently.
I did. It was on Saturday.
you wanted to talk about it, and we did agree that you weren't. You were only grounded up until the Billy show.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we allowed you to play Good Girls Go to Hell earlier. You're wearing your Billy shirt right now. So why don't you tell us about the concert, Josh?
So in short, the concert ended up a little bit better. Well, actually, I should say a lot better than I expected. Because, I mean, I was going into it thinking, oh, it's going to be a great show. But at the end of the day, I was actually blown away by it just because seeing Billie at her young age and at such a relatively short career. I mean, she's only been, mainstream for just maybe 2 or 3 years at this point.
As I say, Bad Guy is like 2018.
Bad Guys 2019.
And that's the first big...
That was like the first big radio hit that she had.
I was going to say, that's the first song I heard of.
Yeah. And it was utterly insane to see, because I had heard of her previously, like when she was on SoundCloud and she was like maybe doing a song here and there for a Netflix show, but she wasn't big yet. It was just kind of like, oh, she's like this kind of like this indie darling thing for a little while before she got huge. And to see her, having this sold out arena, about 20,000 in the Ball Arena, hanging on to every word, every movement of hers. I mean, she would just wave her hand to the crowd and the crowd just went insane. And overall, like the visuals and everything, like it was a very big budget show, which was kind of surprising given just how short her career's been. I mean, she had, because I did send some pictures and videos to the stage had LED boards in it for her entrance. She actually had basically she catapulted out of the stage and onto the floor when she first started. And it was just a very, pyro, lights, lasers. I mean, it was a very big budget show, which was production for, an artist that's only been big for just a handful of years. And then
she is big.
No, I mean, she's big, but how do I say it? Like seeing it with your own eyes, like this, like for me, this person seeing her like on SoundCloud and on YouTube, suddenly selling out gigantic arenas, not just here in the US, but all over the world now, because it is a world tour after all. It was really kind of something else. And the set list was great. Granted, because it was a short career, she practically had to perform her entire discography, basically. She did go ahead and start off... She actually did start off with Bury a Friend, which was actually pretty interesting. Like the visuals were actually kind of frightening because it makes sense. The music video itself is pretty frightening indeed. Demons crawling around and such. And then it ended with Happier Than Ever, which is just basically a giant rock banger, which was utterly insane. Given the altitude, and she did actually say this a couple of times during the show, she did say that the altitude did kind of play a factor in her. So she did No Time to Die, which was the theme song for the latest James Bond movie. She has to hit some pretty high notes in that song. It was kind of a surprise to me that she was going to play it given the altitude, and you could tell because she does have asthma. There were a couple times she did pause to actually take a puff of her inhaler, and she would actually make jokes about it to the audience. Like, I'm surprised you can breathe up here, like stuff like that.
That's fair. I grew up in Colorado. I don't realize the altitude. I will say we were talking about how big she is. I pulled up her Spotify.
Yes.
So this is just Spotify. 47,739,863 monthly listeners.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm definitely in that number.
That's almost 50 million.
Yes.
We could say she's big.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was a hot ticket. Like, when I was in the crowd just like overhearing people, hearing how much they paid per tickets, a lot of them did have to go resale through, StubHub, SeatGeek, things like that. Oof. And they paid exorbitant amounts of money. I paid about $110 per ticket. I had 2 of them, one for me and one for my friend. And we were up in the nosebleeds of the Ball Arena. We were 1 row from the top. Like, we were up there.
I'll say I saw your pictures like, wow, he's really far away.
Yeah, no, it was like the pictures make it, how do I say this? When you're in the Ball Arena, it doesn't seem that big, but when you actually see the pictures, like even zoomed in, it's like, whoa, I'm actually really far away. Like that stage is probably like 150 feet away from me.
The wonders of modern amplification. My mic stand is currently moving. Okay.
The mic stand has the mind of its own right now.
Is it because I invoked that demon earlier?
This is why you don't play with demons.
I was just pulling up Billy's page to get more because I don't listen to Billy because I have taste. Joke. Yeah, When We Fall Asleep. That was 2019.
Yes.
I just scrolled back to the bottom. Earliest song on Spotify.
Yeah.
6 Feet Under from 2016.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 6 Feet Under, and I think Ocean Eyes was probably around that same time.
Yeah, Ocean Eyes is also 2016.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 6 Feet Under and Ocean Eyes. And then the Ocean Eyes remixes was 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bellyache, Bored, and it keeps going.
Yeah.
And Happier Than Ever was 2021.
Last year, yep.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, honestly, good for her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially being so young. I hope it doesn't screw her up. I'm not saying it will, but like,
I don't think
young,
it will because a big thing with her shows is her parents are her managers, and she takes her parents with her for every tour. So I think that does help kind of keep her grounded a little bit, because she'll admit she's a mama's girl. Like, you'll see it in a lot of documentaries and such and interviews. Like, her mom's just almost always nearby.
I just looking more through Spotify page. She's 21st in the world in Spotify artists. It looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Spotify has this thing that just says 21st in the world by her monthly listeners.
Yes.
So, how old? I mean, she's young, so
yes.
Like, good for her.
No, I mean, it's hard. I mean, having that pressure. I mean, going literally in 6 years from one song to being 21st in the world on Spotify. That's not that is that's a massive leap.
Hey, I wish her well.
I do too. I hope she keeps it going.
I say that as if I matter. I don't matter in this whole thing. She seems cool. I've listened to her music and I enjoy some chunks of it. She's not one I regularly fall back on, but hey.
And I will give her massive props also for keeping her fans safe during the show, because obviously there have been some mishaps in the music industry as of late when it comes to shows. Billie did not let that happen. So about 20 minutes into the set, and we from the nosebleeds where me and my buddy were, we could see it. This girl, we literally saw her faint and just slump over the barricade. Billie was about midway through a song, and out of the corner of her eye, she did see it, and she did pause for a moment, and she did say, "Hey, security's coming, hang on." She kept going for the song. She was about halfway through. Security was making their way through. When the song ended, she stopped for a moment, asked the crowd to take a step back so security could actually get in there, pull the girl out, and it was a decently sized girl. I'll say that, like, from the nosebleeds, it's like, whoa. And we saw security carried her out, and she did just wait for a moment. They got security out, and then she just asked the crowd if they were okay, which they did respond yes. She kept going. There were a couple of other times throughout the show, because she did have to ask at least 3 times after songs to have the crowd take a step back, because they did have a habit as the songs became more and more high energy that they just began to swarm the barricades.
Mm-hmm. Which, that's normal.
Yeah, no, it's a normal concert thing, but she would ask, like, she's like, "Hey, guys, take a step back." And about 35, 40 minutes before the end, but when you can tell she was getting into, like, the real high energy portion of the show, she actually had her crew, because first she asked how the crowd in the floor was doing, and they cheered, and she said, "Well, okay, hang on, guys," and she actually had her crew give water bottles to people on the floor, which made sense. Like, even from, I mean, this thing was sold out. You had 20,000 plus in there. Even where I was up in the nosebleeds, like, it was hot. It was stuffy in there. And she did stop for, a few moments, let them get their water and everything, and before she started up again. So I will give her props for that, for keeping her fans safe, because it makes sense. She wants her fans to enjoy the show. I mean, they paid the money to go see her, make sure her fans have a good time, and which she did, and I'm going to give her props for that.
I respect that so much, especially, like, pit etiquette. Someone falls, you pick them up, and to see her as an artist, I'm not going to say there were pits there, but she was there kind of enforcing that. And also, we're here to have fun, but we don't want to put people in danger. That kind of mentality. So
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it was really like mosh pits or anything because that's just not her real type of music, but it was just like a really high energy crowd. Like she would start playing, like when she did Bad Guy, that was the second to last song. Like the crowd, you could literally see them just like start congregating on the barricade. And I mean, it was truly kind of something cool just to see, but also being in this Pandini now, as long as we've been seeing that many people in one place, it almost didn't feel right. Like we were walking through the concourses of the Ball Arena, like looking for snacks, food, anything, and it was just so weird. It's like, wait, we actually have to like push our way through people again.
Oh, it's like back at Ames now, like where we don't have the mask or check-in stations.
Oh,
it's not required. It's like, this is so weird.
Oh, so that was the other thing too for Billie. So Ball Arena lifted their mask policy. However, they made it up to each individual artist what they wanted to do, whether they wanted to do a vaccine requirement or not. So for Billie, you had to have either the shot or a negative test within 72 hours of the show. And you did have to actually enter the arena with a mask on. Once you got in, obviously it was going to be really difficult to enforce. So a lot of people, they wore masks just getting into the building. And then that was just kind of it. But there was still, a little bit of restrictions there, which is okay. I mean, it makes sense. These tours, these shows are multi-million-dollar affairs. If Billie, God forbid, got sick, that's millions of dollars lost. Not just, having to reschedule a show, but also having to go in and, just the local economy. I mean, there were people, coming in from miles around. I got to talk to a couple people in line that drove all the way from Nebraska to go to the show. I think there was one from actually like Nevada as well. People came from all around to see Billie. They're going to be potentially staying the night at hotels. They're going to be eating at restaurants. That was me. I ate at the 16th Street Mall just waiting around. And I also, funny story, I got sunburnt in the quest to get the shirt that I'm currently wearing right now. So I get to the arena at about 2 p.m., right when the parking lot's open. I walk around, I see the merch trailer, and I think, okay, well, normally for these kind of shows, I normally get to the arena like 4:30 or 5. I'll get in line, I'll get my merch, and this awesome security guard, I don't know his name, but I thank him. He just tipped me off. He was just like, hey, they opened that at 3. And I was already there, so I just plopped my happy little butt down in front of the merch trailer waiting. There were a handful of other fans in line as well. Did end up getting a little bit sunburnt on the top of my head, and somehow my lips are sunburnt, which makes no sense to me.
See, if you had been wearing a mask...
Yeah, see, and I knew the mask thing was going to come into play. I mean, we were outdoors.
That's
I was
fair.
just like,
yeah. It's interesting to see the mandates being lifted. Like, I still have mine. I still...
Oh, yeah.
Also, I just like wearing them, but...
Like for me, I mean, how do I say this? Obviously, I know why we wear them. Having reactive airways, it can make breathing a little bit harder. So being at that show and not necessarily having to wear the mask, like, all the time did help. Because, I mean, it's a high-energy show. It's hard to, like... It's already hard enough to breathe in Denver as it is. But with the mask on, it's like, oh, man.
That's fair. We've been talking for a while. It's getting close to the top of the hour. And so, yeah, we might want to hop off here.
Yes.
I don't know.
And let's go ahead and bring it back to the music here on Ames Student Radio.
Are you going to play Billie?
No. I'll spare y'all. I already played it once, and I don't want to get re-grounded. So I'll be smart.
You're getting close, buddy.
And here we go with Changes by Tupac on Ames Student Radio, the way radio should be. And welcome back to Ames Student Radio, the way radio should be. Here with more than likely our last segment of the Dumpster Fire for today. I am Josh, here with V, and it looks like we are probably going to be signing off here for the evening here on Ames Student Radio, as Jeff is currently in Baltimore.
Yeah, I don't know what's actually going on in Baltimore, but something is.
Something is. I mean, their Snapchats look pretty interesting.
I try and watch them, and it's like, oh, there's so many, I can't do this.
Yes, there are quite a few, but I mean, I can't say much because like my Snap stories can get a little bit insane sometimes too, or like my Insta stories are typically the ones where I just go insane.
Mine are like half of it's my cat, and the other half is like, I had one day where I went crazy talking about like a cayenne pepper ghost.
Yes,
a cayenne pepper Death Wish coffee thing I was doing, and I also threw a random guitar riff in there. But I generally, like, I just post a quick, like today, my Snap story was about the cat. I was having Chinese food and laying on the floor wearing a jacket, and she decided she wanted to be in said jacket because she was cold.
Yeah, no, my cat, she, because we have a couple of, like, we basically have one little bed, I guess you could say, for her on each floor of our condo. And she stayed in the one upstairs, which is, like, right across the hall from my bedroom. And she was there for most of the day until about, like, 1 when she finally went, because my mom was down in the basement because she was doing laundry. So then she went to go join my mom because it gets really warm down in the basement with the dryer and everything.
Yeah. My mom hates it because if she does, like, fresh laundry, then the cats will find it.
With our cat, she has this habit of, because we leave one basket up on top of the dryer that she'll just hop in there for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. But she also has this habit, as my mom's emptying out the hamper where her and my dad put their clothes, she has this habit of jumping into the hamper and tipping it over.
She's helping.
Yeah, no, she's helping, but it's hilarious because all of a sudden I'll just, I'll be in my room, like, gaming or whatnot, and then I'll just hear a thunk and Mimi's, which is just, like, the nickname that we have for our cat. And it's just hilarious because you'll just hear Mimi's, and then the cat, all of a sudden I'll just see a little whoosh as she just, like, runs out of the room. She's like, oh, no, they caught me.
Yeah. So we've got 2 cats at the house. One is my sister's cat.
Mm-hmm.
She's dumb. She doesn't run from people. Like, she will go up, walk up, and meet you, and she just kind of sits there dumb. And I say she just looks dumb, and she's very, like, clingy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially since my sister, she's in Cali right now for college. So I end up doing a lot with this cat because she will come find me in the basement, which is not normally where she comes. And then we've got my cat, who's, like, a cat's cat, like, complete, like, antisocial, only really likes me and, like, some other members of the family. Anyone comes in the house, though, that door she's hiding.
Yeah, no, with our cat, like, she approaches just about all of us. She has the habit of, like, if we're in the living room watching TV or whatnot, that she'll come down there and then she will just kind of walk around. She'll be like, okay, who's going to give me attention? And then she just chooses somebody and she's like, okay, it's your turn to love on me. And she also has this habit, like, with, like, strangers coming to the house, she'll be kind of shy. But if she doesn't like somebody, like, she'll make it pretty well known. She doesn't really hiss a whole lot anymore. When she was younger, she would. But now, if she doesn't like somebody, like, she'll look at them and she'll just make, like, a little groan almost. And then she'll go just, like, if they're in the living room, she'll just go, like, to the other side of the living room or upstairs.
My sister's cat is dumb. She loves treats. But my other sister has a husky who actually turns 2 soon.
Mm-hmm.
Young dog, lot of energy. And we normally, like, keep them in the kitchen or outside. And so they're in the kitchen where the treats are. You shake those cat treats.
Mm-hmm.
And this cat doesn't care that husky will try and quote-unquote play with her.
Mm-hmm.
No, she wants those treats. She'll hop over, see the dog, and then leave. She doesn't.
Yeah.
She's kind of doesn't remember.
Our cat knows where we put her treats in the morning and at night, and she'll actually try to be crafty and try to get more than one of us to give her treats. Like, if I'm up early in the morning, like getting home from the gym, I'll put her treats in her little bowl that we have for her in the kitchen. And then I'll go upstairs because I usually get home from the gym a little bit after, usually around 5 or like a couple minutes after 5 in the morning. And I'll give her treats, but she has this habit, like if my mom or dad start heading downstairs to the kitchen, that she'll try to basically start, like, chirping, and she'll actually stand on her legs and actually, like, lean on the cabinet where we keep her treats, and she'll be like, give me treats, kind of thing. And it's like, I'll tell my parents ahead of time, be like, hey, I already gave her treats, but she'll try to, like, pull that one to squeeze some extra treats out.
We don't have a bowl for this cat. We just kind of put him on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And you walk into the kitchen, she yells at you. I accidentally taught her how to yell at you. She wants treats. So she yells at you. You give her treats, because of course you do. She's a cat. She's cute. We don't say no a lot. Then you walk out of the kitchen, you walk back in, and she's instantly just trying to get more treats from you. Like, if you're in the kitchen, she wants treats or attention. I've stepped on her a few times because she's like I'm trying to like do dishes or something.
Yeah.
She's just around my legs. It's like, I need you to
Yeah,
stop.
no, that she'll do that to us too. Like if she really wants our attention, she'll just try to like wrap herself around our legs. And last Tuesday, actually, we figured out our cat has like a hidden subwoofer mode. So my brother was bringing up the laundry hamper from upstairs, and he was setting it down on the top step. The cat had the bright idea to just lay on that top step to try to get my brother's attention. He didn't see her because this hammock's really big, and all of a sudden you just hear, meow, and she runs off upstairs. So I'm upstairs in my room just gaming, and then all of a sudden I just hear my brother like coming after the cat, like, "Hey kidder, are you okay?" And she starts letting out like this super deep, deep groan. No, and it's like. And it is deep. Like, I can hear it in my room, and I have the TV loud, and I'm just like, and I just go in the room, and I'm like, what happened? And my brother told me, and like, I try to get close to the cat, and she starts doing that to me, and I'm just like,
oh yeah,
I'm just like, we found the Russian subwoofer mode on you.
My cat. You know the phrase, it's not about the size of the dog in the fight, it's about the size of the fight in the dog?
Mm-hmm.
That is my cat, because she is actually tiny. She was not the run to the litter, because we got her from some friends on a farm.
Mm-hmm.
But she's like the second up, and she didn't get very big. She's still a very small cat.
Yeah.
Any dog. No, she will fight them off.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter that she is tiny and they can literally bite her. No, my sister's dog, the husky, has had blood drawn more than a few times because she refuses to not stick her nose at the thing that's hissing, yelling with razor blades on her paws.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's a fun time. I like my cat. I love her.
Oh yeah, no, I mean my cat. I mean I'm adorable. She's adorable. I wouldn't trade her for anything. Honestly, she is like, how do I say this? She's almost like a little sister to me, or maybe even like the closest thing I have to a kid for now. Because she's just like so adorable, and like when she wants my attention, she just knows how to get it. Or she just likes to, because I have two chairs in my room. Usually when I'm working, I'm sitting in one of them, and the other one she just likes to crawl in there in the middle of the day and just sleep for a while. And then if she's annoyed with me, like if I'm taking too many calls or whatnot, she will actually look at me and she will like whack the chair with her tail, almost being like, "Hey, work less." And it's like, I need money to pay for things like your insurance, which costs like a lot.
Fun fact, we're a music show technically. Like, we're supposed to be.
We're supposed to be, but I mean, we're talking about cats.
Not the musical, thankfully. I will say it's getting up on 6:15 right about here, and I have to go to work, so it's right about time we sign off, I think, right?
Yes, it is. It looks like we have reached that time here, so we hope to have a pretty good. Wow, I can't talk today. Thursday we are definitely going to have a hopefully more coherent show.
Yeah, we're going to chat about new Ghost album. We might see if we can get a guest. I'm talking to a few of the other DJs to see if they want to come on and just chat. So, yeah, we'll see. It's Thursday, but for now, AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be. What's up next, Josh?
Up next, we are bringing it back to 1998 and the Billboard charts with Smooth by Santana featuring Rob Thomas. AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be.
Cringe.